It may be
Instagram.
It may be Pinterest. I've seen quite a few programs use Pinterest very effectively. It may be Twitter, although that's unlikely unless you've got a lot of millennials. But anyway, figure out which social media is appropriate for them. If Facebook is right for your program because that's where your clients are, that's where the families are, then let's think through how we can use it effectively. Okay, so we've surveyed the parents and we found out that yes, they're using Facebook and they want some communication on Facebook so that they can share cute pictures of their kids. So those are two different things. We've got the marketing. I can reach parents who are like the parents I have enrolled at my program, and the parents want cute pictures of their kids that they can share. So the cute pictures of their kids would be that secret group. And then the marketing to potential clients would be your business page or your liked page.
The other thing to check with your parents and your staff is to find out what kind of things do they go for Facebook for? What are they on Facebook for? So do your parents who are currently at your program, do they like using and looking at Facebook pages for new recipes? Do you need to regularly have family-friendly, quick recipes on your Facebook page? So in addition to having social media and a social media presence is what content? What do you put there? When do you put it there? How often do you put it there? So these are all tools that are valuable to know. We could cover them literally in hours, and when I mean hours, I literally mean hours. So we're just trying to answer some quick questions for you because we're not going to give you all the tips and hints, but we really do want you to take that time to create the survey and to talk with your parents, not necessarily your staff, but maybe both, and as well as know what your personal habits are. If you love Snapchat and you love Instagram and you happen to stumble across our Facebook Live, and the only time you're ever on Facebook is for our Facebook Live, then maybe Facebook is not the best tool for you to communicate with your parents. However, if all your parents are on Facebook and you're just an Instagrammer, you may need to find your Facebook communicator. It doesn't always have to be you. It can absolutely be a staff person. And Carrie's going to talk to you a little bit about the privacy issues when it comes to photos, communication, things to make sure that you share with your staff about smartphones and how to take those photos and questions to ask. There's always important things to know if you've got staff or families that are foster families or have some other issues going on.
Okay, so when people enrolled in your center, they probably filled out the form that said whether or not you could take pictures of their children. So if you have children at your program who you do not have a photo release for, then don't take their picture and put it on Facebook in any form or fashion. Also, any information that is confidential should not be put on Facebook. So what are the things that are confidential? If you're one of our directors, hopefully you feel like this has been drilled into you. But anyway, let's talk about the 3 areas of confidential information. So nothing that has to do with financial status. So nothing about the fact that, 30% of our kids are on free and reduced lunch. That would not be something yeah, I wouldn't put that on there. But you can say that you offer the lunch program so that kids are having hot breakfast and lunch.
Because that's a marketing.
Because that's, marketing.
Money.
So we don't put anything in there about people's tuition and people are late or any of that, or how much you're paying your individual staff. That would all be financial information. Then there's medical information. This includes developmental milestones. That's considered health information. And so we don't put on our Facebook page video of a child's first steps because that's technically medical information. You can show pictures of toddlers toddling and how you guys support that, and that would be great both on the community page and on a marketing page. And then the third thing is family status. So we don't share anything about divorces, marriages, deaths in the family. None of that kind of stuff would go on there because that's confidential information because that has to do with family status. new births, all of that is considered confidential. So if parents share about a new birth on the page, on your group, that's fine. They can voluntarily disclose that confidential information, but you as the center can't tell other people that a new baby has been born. Does that make sense? So we want to make sure we're protecting confidentiality when we're doing those kinds of things and not using photos of children who you do not have a photo release for.
When you're looking at your photo release that you currently use, make sure it does talk about social media. A lot of us have used blanket photo release forms for decades, and we've never thought to update them. So please make sure that they talk about social media. Make sure social media is in your parent handbook, and please make sure social media is in your staff handbook.
Yep.
The other thing that I see programs do on Facebook, and I know that they're well-meaning, but it comes back to that financial disclosure, is if they talk about, or when they talk about adopting families for the holidays, or even something simple about, turkeys, or anything that might give the impression that somebody in your program is needy, GoFundMe accounts. Again, all of these, I know that sometimes people have serious issues within their program or within their life, and they need that extra support. And absolutely, as a program, support those people any way you can. The place to talk about that, however, is not going to be on your social media. Maybe if you've got a secret group, and that secret group does talk about things like that, even if it's a staff person's home burns down or whatever, it's not an appropriate place to put in that venue. It doesn't mean that you may not put it on your own personal Facebook page and try to get people. But real quick, I want to talk about Facebook pages as an individual, if I can do that.
Okay.
A lot of professionals have 2 Facebook pages or 2 social media presence. One is their personal, like their friends, their family. That's where they might put the "I had a great time last weekend" information. And then they have the one that is their professional image. Now, some of us just blur the whole line and it doesn't really matter. But for some of your staff, depending on how old they are, depending on how social they are, or if they can filter themselves, you might encourage your teachers, you yourself, if you've got a lot going on in your world and you use social media as a way to communicate with your family about the stresses of your life, then really try to have a second Facebook image.
Yeah, my daughter does this because she has been a model, and so some of those model pictures are not family friendly. So she has 2 different pages, and that's really, really helpful for her. The other thing we were going to talk about is making sure that all of the teachers are on the same page as far as smartphones. Phones should not be in the classroom. Licensing says that you have to be able to see and hear and interact with the children at all times. You cannot do that if you are playing Sudoku on your phone or if you are checking Facebook Messenger. So if someone is being counted in a ratio, they cannot have their phone with them. They cannot have their phone accessible. So if you're being counted in ratio, you can't be doing Facebook. So the director can do Facebook. You can have a floater. If you have a floater, that person can be doing Facebook in the classroom. But nobody who's counted in ratio can be engaging with their phone during the time they're being counted in the staff-to-child ratio. This is a absolute black and white issue with licensing. If you are on your phone, especially if it's a smartphone, licensing can and will write you up for failure to supervise. And how do you want to be explaining that to parents who have pulled up your licensing report to say, oh, it's because they were posting on our Facebook Live group, or on our Facebook group? No, don't do it. Figure out ways. If you're going to do Facebook, you can use other devices, or an old iPhone that's not connected to anything still has a decent camera. Use an iPhone 4 that's, I'm sure you have a parent who would donate you an old iPhone 4 that you can use to take pictures in the classroom, and then it can be given to the director to upload later, or the staff person can upload it after their time in the classroom when they're taking a bathroom break.
You know, they do still own, these things are still made called cameras.
What?
And they even have little removable cards. And so, but they also make smart cameras. They make cameras that actually do automatically connect with everything from cloud-based storage to straight up to your social media. So don't think that you can't take photos. We're not saying you can't take photos. We're saying you can't have phones. And this has been an issue since Carrie and I have been working with programs and everybody had a brick or a flip phone. I mean, we're talking ancient phones because I don't know about
It's a distraction.
but in addition to a distraction, if people are having fights over social media, they get to be in a bad, or even texting, they get to be in a bad mood, and they bring that to the workplace. Inappropriate photos, content. Again, you got preschool
Lord,
and
that
after
story. We're not going to tell that story.
No, we're not telling that story, but still, you have after schoolers, and I'm sure if you have an after schooler in your program, you know, I'm seeing first and second graders with smartphones coming to school. And if your program has a landline, make sure that parents know that number, give them business cards, give them magnets, give them tons of your phone numbers so that they can call your program to get a hold of their child. You don't want other kids tempted to steal. So you got stealing issues, you have people who want to one up their counterpart. So in after school programs, it's just as important. Summer camps. I realize that a lot of parents want to be able to have that contact with their child, but the parents need to know what the laws are as well. So make sure you look at licensing regulations, make sure that you can figure out how to articulate that to the parents and to the kids so that everybody understands that this isn't you, this is a state law. Licensing regulations are a state law.
Yeah, we don't want to break the law. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit is the fact that there are lots of different social media options out there. There's Pinterest. We talked about Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. Tumblr. Many of those can be used to market your program, but please, please don't try to do all of them. Pick one that is the one you're going to use as your social media interface for your business. And I do strongly recommend that you do pick one. And you may have to pick two because you're doing one for marketing and you're doing one for communicating with your parents, but you need to be out there. I know it's uncomfortable for some of us. I really don't get Snapchat to save my life. And I'm not on Snapchat, but I am on Facebook and I am on Instagram a little bit because I need to have some connection with where our clients are. You have to be able to speak to your clients and them not to feel like you are completely clueless. Just because we work in an industry that is not computer heavy does not mean we can be computer phobic.
Again, 15 years ago, we were talking to people about the yellow pages and the internet and having websites. You don't need these anymore. So if you're spending money on yellow pages ads, even if it's yp.com, or you're spending money on a really fancy website, save your money. Get off. A Facebook page is going to do as good, if not better, than a traditional website. So if you're spending a lot of money and you're really feeling it in your marketing budget, trust me, I am happy to give you 10 much better ways to spend your money than on websites and traditional advertising, even if those traditional advertising are now web-based. Ask your parents how they found you.
Yeah, and you can have a website that, most programs I think still have websites, and I think that's good, but your website should not be one that's costing you $30 a month. We're past that at this point. Do we have anything else we were going to cover other than our questions?
I don't think so. I think just our questions.
Okay, so the two questions so that you can answer by direct messaging us. Direct message me or the business page to get your 15 minutes of training for today are which social media do you think right now would be the best one for your program? And can't read the other one.
How are you going to use social media in your program?
Are you going to use it to reach out to market to your current clients, or are you going to use it to market to potential new clients? Okay, great.